Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here, returning to you late morning for a album review for Fever 333's second and long-awaited studio record for Darker White that I got a chance to listen to for this record to see what I was going to think of this album. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for this record overall and let you know my thoughts on it for the 14 tracks and a runtime of 40 minutes. So let's dive into this album review. So it starts with New West Order. This one's kind of growing on me, and I guess it's fine as the opening track, but it's not one of my favorites. It's above average, or above decent at least, in a way. There's some moments where I like it and moments where I don't, with how it's executing from time to time. Sorry, I'm petting my sister's cat right here, Titan right here, so being a sweetheart. So, pretty much with what I listened to, this is a 4.25 out of 5 for New West Order. The opening track's alright. With how Jason Allen Butler's singing the track, basically, it sounds good for what it goes for, but execution-wise, there are some critiques I have with it, with how it's performed. So 4.25 out of 5. Higher Power was a strong track, for sure. Not one of the best songs from the record, but it was a strong track, for sure, in its own way. There were some moments where I felt the rapping didn't really offer much, but there were some points where the drum work and guitar work sounded really good in this track, and I was impressed with the instrumentation in this track. Jason Allen Butler had his moments where he was doing his shouting screams, and it was fine. So 4.75 out of 5. Bull and a Bullet is the third track, and this one's a good song, but not one of my particular favorites. I think execution-wise, it did alright for what it went for to lead into the next song, No Hostages, which I will be talking about that one in a second. I think this is a 4.5 out of 5. It's a good song. Jason Allen Butler's vocals sound alright in this. Execution-wise, it performed okay. So, yeah, it's fine for what it is. No Hostages was one of the singles for the record. I know they dropped so many singles for this record, I'll tell you that much. It was like almost all this album. And that's a lot. Like half of this record was already spoiled. And that is another thing that bands have been doing too much lately, is spoiling their records way too much. And that's going to ruin the hype for the rest of the album, and not make us interested to hear how the other songs are going to sound. And that's sadly disappointing, to be honest. So, pretty much, No Hostages is a good track. I really enjoyed this one. The drum work in the chorus is great. Even the guitar work is pretty good. It sounded really catchy, the melody in the chorus of No Hostages. And I think Jason Allen Butler sounded good vocally in this. I mean, there were some annoyance moments with his yelling screams that I don't know if I liked, but it was alright. So 5 out of 5 for this one. This was a strong track. Definitely rocked for sure. Swing is the most disappointing track I've listened to from this record. It is. There were some moments I liked the bridge part of it, but then come most of the track, it is a big flop for sure. One of Fever's worst songs on this record. The only song that is going to bring the rating down quite exponentially. So, this is a 2.75 out of 5 for this one. I'm not a fan of it. I remember when I reviewed it last year or so, I was not a fan of it, and still am not. Murderer is a strong track for sure. I'd give it a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed Jason Allen Butler's vocals in this track, and just how the execution is with the song. it did alright for what it went for the couple minutes of this track, like 3 minutes and some seconds. So this track really worked for what it sounded like. And it did have a message behind it, but other than that, it's a strong track. Excuse me, honey. I'm a little tired again, so I don't feel like I got enough sleep, but I might want to take another nap in a second just to get enough sleep and enough rest so I can work today. So other than that, 5 out of 5 for Murderer. Tourist is a good track in its own way. I mean, there's some execution flaws with this track, with how it, production and mixing sound. But overall, Jason Allen Butler's vocals are fine, but not great in any way. So this is a 4.5 out of 5. Nosebleeds is a pretty good song in its own way. I mean, the chorus is not really too much memorable, but it's interesting enough to listen through. But overall, I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5 for Nosebleeds. It was one of the singles. I think it was the last single they dropped for this record's announcement. And this was a couple weeks ago. Keep in mind, like 2 weeks ago, I think. So not that long ago. But other than that, it's a good song. Do or Die is a good track too, but there are some critiques I have with this song, with how it sounds. And overall, I think with this one, it's fine. It's not one of the best, but it's fine. So I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5 for Do or Die. There are moments where I do like it, moments where I feel the song plays it a little too safe. Negligence is the 10th song on the record, and not one of the best, but not one of the worst. So this is a 4.25 out of 5 for this one. I think with Jason Allen Butler's vocals and performance-wise, it did alright. So 4.25 out of 5. Desert Rap was one of the singles for this record, and it is good. I think some of the verses were kind of the weakest part of the song, but the chorus was the strong part. But other than that, it's a 4.5 out of 5. I know when I reviewed it, I gave it like a 3.5, but my ratings do change after a while as much as I listen to it. But after listening to Desert Rap again, I didn't hate it that much. DOA is a above average or above decent track, I meant to say. I think this one did have some moments where I liked it, moments where I didn't, but mostly it's not one of my favorite songs. So 4.25 out of 5. Pin Drop is the second to last song for the record. It's a good track for sure. The drumming and the guitar work in the chorus is excellent, and Jason Allen Butler's screaming in it is pretty good. So I really dug this track for how it sounded. So 4.5 out of 5. And finally, we get to the closing track, Mob Music Part 2, which is above decent track. There are some moments where I like it and moments where I don't. Like, for example, the verses are kind of hit or miss, but the chorus is pretty strong in its own way, and just how it sounds overall, it's not bad. So 4.25 out of 5. Overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I found myself thinking that Fever 333's new record, Darker White, as their second studio album, is a step down from Strength in Numbers. I don't know, this one was decent. It just wasn't the best thing I've listened to this year. I was hoping Fever would drop something really good, but with this one, the effort was a little too try-hard in a way. Like, they were trying to experiment a lot more, and I'll give them credit where it's due. Some of the experimentation did work, and some of it didn't. But overall, if I were to give this record its deserved score, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's decent. but it's not one of my favorites. I think Strength in Numbers was the best one they dropped back in 2019. That was like 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago when it came out. Almost 6 now, to keep in mind. But overall, from what I listened to, I didn't hate this record, but I didn't love it, if you get my drift on what I'm trying to say. But overall, 7 out of 10 for Fever 333's new record, Darker White, I meant to say. Sorry, I'm saying my words wrong. I'm still trying to wake up a little, but it's a little hard because I might just go back to sleep for a little bit, just for a few hours or so. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this Fever 333 Darker White album review, and thanks for watching this late morning.